Hello everyone and welcome to week 7 of In the Huddle, your local high school football focus. I'm Dom Cosentino from the Intelligencer, and with me as always is Kevin Cooney from the Bucks County Courier-Times.
How you doing, Dom?
I'm well. How are you, Kevin?
I'm tired, but well.
Yeah, Phillies game last night, 2 in the morning, a little late, but we're ready to roll this week. And here we go. Looking back at week 6, Council Rock South up to Abington, that's really kind of shaking things up in the National Conference, hasn't it, Kevin?
Everything looked like it was going to be pretty cut and dry, but now, if you look at Abington, has 1 loss. Chamonix has 1 loss. Council Rock South has 1 loss. Council Rock North has 1 loss. They all kind of play each other the rest of the way in some round-robin form. Pennsbury, obviously, the top team. They're undefeated. They control their own destiny, but if you look at Abington and the Chamonix, only, I think, 3 teams out of this group of 4 that are kind of bunched together at 1 loss in the conference is going to get in. I think South established itself though as a true power last week. When you look at the way they won that game, tough game on the road, there was a lot of questions about whether they could handle a game like that. They did it perfectly, and they found a way to beat a pretty good Abington team. This week was supposed to be the Continental Conference showdown between Quakertown and North Penn. Hasn't quite developed the way we all thought it would. Thanks to Quakertown's loss to Hapro a couple weeks ago. And now, how do you see this mix between Southern's in the hunt, Quakertown's in the hunt, all kind of fighting for the same piece of the pie?
Well, I don't think we can count out Quakertown just based on the 1 loss. They bounced back nicely with a solid win over Central Bucks South this past Friday. Southern, though, is also in the mix, as we said, with a decisive win over Penridge and another one now over Hatboro Horsham. They're 3-0 and tied with North Penn. But I think the big game in the Continental this week will be North Penn, one of the top teams in the state, as always, taking on Quakertown up at Alumni Field. Southern, their next game now is CD South, so they have the opportunity to stay even with the winner of that game, or even take over first place if Quakertown were to win. Certainly with the way North Penn's been throwing the ball, and the way their offense has just kind of chewed everybody up, they're going to be a tough out for Quakertown. Going to be a very tough game. Kevin, one of the big stories last week was the Archdiocese of Philadelphia's decision to close Cardinal Doherty and North Catholic high schools. What's that going to mean for the Catholic League's structure going forward?
Well, it's in great flux, mainly because Cardinal Doherty and North Catholic were in the smaller conferences, the AAA and AA conferences. What you're going to look for now is who moves down. If any schools, when the numbers come out at the end of the month or early next month, who's going to move down? The rumor is that Cardinal O'Hara and Monsignor Bonner are the most likely schools to move from Quad A to AAA. That happens, you only have 5 teams in Quad A. Remember, Kenny Kemrick is leaving the Catholic League to go to the Pac-10 next year. So it's a whole series of changes that are going to develop here. And I think the future of the whole league is at stake because, quite honestly, there's a belief among a lot of people in Catholic League circles that the future is very unstable for the schools that even survive this round of cuts. You know, I think going forward, you're going to see more. This is going to be more of a norm the next couple of years of seeing schools either consolidate or closed as especially the population base in the city goes down. Let's talk about Southern. How good is Southern? They struggled early out of the gate, but they bounced back really nicely.
Well, obviously getting Derek Brown and Andrew Coyle back has benefited the Indians significantly. They almost seem to be a different team. In the first 3 weeks, they had those 2 guys out, and their offense struggled. They struggled defensively. They seem to be playing with a bit of a swagger right now, and they showed that not only against Hatboro Horsham on Friday night, but against Penridge the week before, holding both of those teams to fewer than 20 total yards in the first half of those games, and really running away with them by halftime. I think Hatboro was a pretty good defensive team, and Southern really took it to them on Friday. They're really the team to watch right now.
Time for 4 Downs, America's favorite quick hits answer segment. And Dom, Palisades, after a loss last week on the playoff bubble, what happens with the Pirates?
Well, the Pirates remaining schedule, they've got Salisbury, Notre Dame, Southern Lehigh, and Saucon Valley to close out the year. But at 3-3 with 5-1 Southern Lehigh down the road, the Pirates may have to win out to get into the 18th field in District 11. One of the big games in the National Conference this week is going to be Council Rock North and Abington. Kevin, what are you seeing there?
I think it's more critical right now for Abington. Abington has to get right back on the horse. Remember, they played 1 less game than the other team, so a second loss could really hurt their seeding hopes. They should get still in the tournament, and they still have Pennsbury up ahead. CR North at this point has 2 losses, but I think that they could still find a way if they beat South to get in the tournament. So I think for Abington, there's more at stake in this game than necessarily there is for CR North long term as far as reputation and seeding. East and West will play this week. Rivalry's gone down a little bit, but what do you expect after East's first win this week?
I think with East getting their first win, Justin White having a big game, the emotion of the rivalry is still there. West kind of a little banged up. They had some problems with numbers with the offensive line. But these are, old rivals getting a chance to play again, and it should be a pretty intense night in Doylestown. Kevin, we're filming this on Monday, just after the Phillies played till 2:15 last night. What's the latest sporting event you ever covered?
I covered a game in Washington, D.C. that ended at 3 a.m. and walked out of the RFK Stadium at 4:30. And you really, really get to appreciate sleep when you have to drive from Washington to Philly at like 5 in the morning. It was unbelievable. It was a rainy night, and the Phillies got eliminated pretty much from the playoffs that night. But nothing tops a playoff game at 2:14.
That's all. And that's all the time we have this week from Crawford Stadium at North Penn High School. And keep an eye out for this Sunday's editions of the Intelligencer and the Courier Times, where we will have expanded coverage that will include the Friday night football games. And don't forget, you can also follow all the action on Friday night by listening to the WNPV Intelligencer Scoreboard Show at 1440 a.m. on your radio dial or at 1440WNPV.com. And then Friday night as well, we will have all the scores and all of the recaps of all the games at BucksMonSportsNow.com. For In the Huddle, I'm Dom Cosentino along with Kevin Cooney. Don't forget to check back next week. Take care.